So during the year of 2020, Demon Hunter was released. And I'm sure I've mentioned this a lot of times to you, but 4 cards from Demon Hunter got nerfed in 24 hours. Do you remember, or have I shown you any of those cards?
God, I don't know.
I'm gonna show you.
Oh no, God, this is a quiz. This is so embarrassing. They're gonna think I'm throwing for content.
Listen, I guarantee you at some point during these videos that I have shown you these cards at some point. Maybe like not all of them, but I've definitely showed you a couple of them. I am gonna show you a bunch of cards from the day 1 release of Demon Hunter. And your job is to tell me A, how good the card is, but B, figure out what 4 cards were nerfed in 24 hours in Hearthstone. Now, I have to say this for people who don't know. That is the fastest any card has been nerfed in Hearthstone, and nothing has gotten close to that.
Okay, say again. In the first 24 hours?
First 24 hours,
4 cards?
4 cards were nerfed. 4 cards.
That's insane, though. There's the how did that happen? Then there's the fact that they actually did something about it that fast, which I can't fathom. I can't fathom. Magic the Gathering, we would have at least a month and a half while they analyze the data of just hell on earth. Well, if Magic did that.
Normally Hearthstone does that, right? But they do have, I'm sure Magic the Gathering has the same thing. They have the back end to tell how well cards are doing.
I'm not convinced they do.
Sounds like you're having a great time over there. Thankfully, Hearthstone has some back end that allows them to see, oh, some of these cards are a little bit silly. We should probably get rid of them. They have to be clear. In one of the most recent patches, they did ban a card for the sake of letting the StarCraft mini set thrive because it's a new release. But it wasn't straight up nerfs. Like they did nerfs over the server, which I've never seen them do ever before. Anyways, here's the Demon Hunter here, bar. Just in case you need a reminder, okay? Because that is extremely important, especially at day 1, how important this was. Okay.
Okay.
Here is your first card.
Demon Claws is 1 for a hero power that says +1 attack this turn. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm starting you off.
I remember this completely.
I'm starting you off with your favorite type of card as well.
My favorite type of card. Oh, is it a weapon? God, it had to be a weapon.
It's
oh
my
God. Oh, Jesus Christ. At least you're not Simo. Simo would make me a video that's nothing but me rating weapons because that's how he likes to do things to me. So I appreciate that you are you. So let's see. Aldrachi Warblades is a 3-mana 2/3 lifestealer. Okay. Is that good? Probably fine. I'm not sure what the rate for just a weapon is, but like hitting and gaining life and killing a thing seems fine. 3 uses for 3 mana seems fine. It seems like more than adequate removal. This seems good.
Okay. I will say for like rate wise, there's a weapon that I've probably showed you before called Fiery War Axe, which was a 2-mana 3/2 with no stats. And that was very good in the early game of Hearthstone.
Okay.
3 mana. I'm trying to think of like what 3-mana card was available at this time. There's like Waggle Pick, which is 4 mana 4/2 with the death rattle to return a minion back to your hand. And that was played for Rogue. That's another example. So this is like somewhere in the middle. But obviously with Demon Hunter's hero power, it's a little bit better because you can spend 1 more mana to get an additional attack.
Yep. Is it normal to have a hero power that's 1? Aren't hero powers usually 2?
Demon Hunter is the only class in the entire game that has this.
What could go wrong?
Because they're sick. But I hate them so much.
I have had this rant on many a video, and I'm sure one of yours. 2 and 1 are they seem close together, but in card games, it's literally double. It's such a huge difference. It's enormous. And
they also balanced a lot of the cards around this hero power, which means they literally like couldn't change it because otherwise they would have to redesign the whole class pretty much. So there was a lot of contention during the time when Demon Hunter was released that this should be nerfed to 2 mana because it felt like it was too good.
Does feel that way without seeing any other cards, but maybe you'll change my mind. Let's see.
Okay, so do you think this card was nerfed? And do you think it was nerfed in 24 hours?
The 2/3 lifestealy thing? Oh, come on, man. We're already doing this.
What are we doing?
Of course, this doesn't look like it should be nerfed in 24 hours. Like, it seems fine, but then you combine it with the claws, and why would you be showing me this? If it weren't the one of the, no, you've done this before. You sometimes give me like a very vanilla, just fine thing right away, and it's fine. This is fine.
Okay, I hate to be the guy here. This was nerfed in 24 hours.
No, so what? What?
So...
Are we done? Is the video over? What the hell? How? Why?
Hold on, okay. Demon Hunter. This weapon is arguably one of the best weapons we've seen of all time in Hearthstone. 3-mana 2/3 weapon with lifesteal is just good enough to just fight for the board. When you add on the fact that you can add 1 more mana for +1 damage, and then there's a bunch of ways of also getting more attack in your turn, it allowed Demon Hunter to get too many swing turns and be too efficient with its life total, which basically meant that like in order to kill it, you had to one-shot it, or they're just going to survive every damage you do, and they'll just slowly win the game. There's also a bunch of other ways of interacting with this. So as you could probably imagine, in 24 hours, they probably looked at this card and said, this card is just winning games if it's played on turn 3. So it was nerfed in 24 hours. They nerfed it to a 3-mana 2/2.
Okay.
The one less attack that you got with this weapon was actually kind of important. I mean, and I gotta say it like this, even though they nerfed 4 cards in 24 hours, this class was still giga broken. So I couldn't tell you really how much the impact was of this. I can tell you this card was still played post that nerf. So,
wow. Yeah. Is this the best weapon of all time?
Best weapon of all time. It's tough because I think you could make the case for Fiery War Axe being really good back in like Classic. Like they used to call Fiery War Axe Fiery Win Axe if you had it.
Okay.
Because it was so good against like board-centric decks. During this time, yes, it was probably the best weapon in the entire thing. Okay,
look at that bicep. This must be nerfed. For the good of all of our self-esteem. So 3 mana altruis, the outcast.
Yeah.
Okay, 3/2. After you play the left or right most card in your hand, deal 1 damage to all enemies. Wait, what? So when you play the leftmost or rightmost, then the card that was next to it becomes the new left or rightmost. So when you play the new left or rightmost, does it do it again?
Yep.
That doesn't seem fine.
I'm also gonna say to you that I've said this before for sure, but Demon Hunter's identity, like its proficiency, is draw, mana cheating, and damage. We'll see more about that later in this video. But
Okay. So this
the
seems
first
a good
question
card.
is, okay, yeah. Do you think this is good?
Yes. I think this is a good card.
Do you think this was nerfed in 24 hours?
So maybe. I don't know a lot of other things about the curve of the deck. And unlike the last card, this doesn't like play right into the hero power.
Okay.
In fact, you know, like it's going to be harder to have spare mana because you want to play this and then also play your leftmost and rightmost cards and get damage done.
You want some context? Just so you want some context.
Okay.
The high end for this deck was 6 mana.
Okay. So it's doing rogue things right out the gate. Let's play the good cheap cards.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of describing it.
Okay. Did this card get nerfed in 24 hours? Well, so far you've shown me something I thought was totally fine, and that got nerfed, and it was a weapon that was a 2/3 lifesteal. And this, I would have said in a vacuum, is like, if I, with no context, I would have said this card is more dangerous and better in some ways. A lot of ways. I would have said it in all of the ways. Did this card get nerfed in 24 hours? That's such a hard bar to clear because I'm looking for like the most broken possible thing. God. This is definitely a good card. Yeah, nerf it. What the hell?
In 24 hours?
Yeah, just get it out of there. That's stupid. It just wipes everything.
Before I even give you the answer to this, I'm just going to let you know, a lot of these cards are going to say the exact same thing. Like, how is this printed? Why this seems really, really good. I hate to inform you, this card was not nerfed in 24 hours.
Cool.
This I will tell you though, and you're gonna hear this a lot, that this card was nerfed eventually to 4 mana, and that I think it did something, I guess, maybe 1 turn later. But this card was an absolute powerhouse in this deck. Like in any Demon Hunter deck you're running it in, like it would win you the game. It did so much damage.
Okay, I've set the baseline.
Okay, here's your next card.
I get to ask for every card. Is it better than that weapon? Is it better than altruis or whatever? All right, this is going to be great. Battlefiend is a 1-mana 2/2 demon. After your hero attacks, gain +1 attack. Okay. Okay.
Okay, before you even rate this card,
Yeah.
1 mana 2/2 is a very good stat line for a 1-drop.
No, you don't say.
Before you rate the card.
Cool.
So the hero power would give your hero 1 attack.
I remember that the 1 mana 1/3 is a thing in Hearthstone.
1 mana 1/3, yes.
So you're telling me you play this and then you use the 1 and it's a 3/2 and it eats the other opponent's good 1-drop, just noms it, and you still have another mana crystal.
Yeah, on turn 2, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Cool. So this card is stupid. The question isn't, is it good? Yeah. I'm just gonna say that the card is good. So is it nerfed in 24 hours? Jesus.
So I'm surprised how good this video actually is gonna end up being, because a lot of these Demon Hunter cards are so fucking good that it's like it's so difficult to actually tell whether or not.
I love the one deck videos because it's like just cascading through a spiraling staircase to hell of just what the heck were they thinking? Card by card by card. Who was having fun? Yeah. Did this have to get nerfed in 24 hours? That's what I have to answer.
That's what you have to know.
So I compare it to the weapon. It's like, okay, this gets you out and it gets you attacking. It is a 1 mana 2 toughness thing. So it's not like the world is without answers to such things. It's just probably not optimal. But man, the steamroller case of play one of these on the next turn, play another one of these and use your hero power and just go to work is so gross. It's so gross.
It was gross.
Oh, you played during this 24-hour period?
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes.
Do you have scars? Do you wake up in the night screaming?
This is my least favorite class in the game. It's not even close.
Did everybody in chat, were you there? Did you wake up screaming? Did you play for these 24 hours? Did you uninstall during these 24 hours? Tell us your stories. We need to know. I'm going to say, God, it doesn't really matter what I say, but I'm playing the game. I'm trying to play the game. I'm going to say that the little 2/2 minion did not get nerfed in 24 hours. That it was a part of the problem, but not the core of the problem.
Okay, that is a very good way of putting it. This card was not nerfed in 24 hours. Do you think it was nerfed?
Ever? Yes.
You sound so confident.
What do you want from me? You want analysis? You want rationalization? This card seems broke. Like, if you're not going to do anything about the hero power, this seems like it invalidates the other early plays in the meta to the point where you actually have to run like little removal spells to pick this off, which takes away from how other decks want to play, which makes whole classes worse. Why not nerf it?
Buddy, that was the entire meta game for the first month of this class. So this card was nerfed, but not in 24 hours, like you said. It took them less than a month to nerf the attack of this to 1 rather than 2.
Brilliant.
So it took a little slower.
Okay. This seems like my worst nightmare of like mono red, like being super powered in MTG of just unstoppable aggro.
Before you rate this card, let me really set the stage for you here.
Oh, okay.
A lot of creators, like you probably know in Magic the Gathering, would do like set reviews before they even come out, right? People would look at the cards, say how good they were. When Demon Hunter was being released or like showcased, every creator was like, do they not realize how broken these cards are? Like, do they not understand like how disgusting some of these cards are? Trump, who is notoriously like, he's got some really iffy moments when it comes to reviewing cards, but overall he's been really good. He gave this like the highest star reviewing of all time because he couldn't believe all these cards coming out. And Mono Red is a really good example of this because it played just like this. If you couldn't match the tempo of Demon Hunter, you just lost the game.
You know what? This hero power is red ley line. It's the red ley line that got banned. That's this hero power. That's what it is.
It was
unbelievable. Okay. It's the same damn lesson. Blade Dance is a 2-mana spell that says deal damage equal to your hero's attack to 3 random enemy minions. Hold on, let me read that again. 2 mana, deal damage equal to your hero's attack to 3 random enemy minions. Your hero's attack is like when you equip a weapon, right?
Equip a weapon, hero power.
Oh, yeah.
Other things that buff your attack. Yep.
Oh, okay. And you get to just buff that with your 1 mana hero power. This is a 2 mana board wipe.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Have you shown me any card like this ever? I don't
Blade
think
Dance?
so.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That
well,
kills
fair,
3 things for 1? Like that? I don't think so. Not at this rate. No, this is... What? If this were a Magic card, this would be insane.
Yeah, in Hearthstone, it was fucking absurd, so I could imagine.
Oh,
Also, they gave it to Demon Hunter, which is already very good.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Did this get nerfed? I goddamn, I hope so. Like, okay. Wow.
In 24 hours?
Yeah. Nice board. It's all gone. I'm pretty sure this got cast like 2 or 3 times, and they were like, "Oh, we made a one-sided board wipe for 2 mana." Yeah, we nerfed it. Yeah, this got nerfed.
In 24 hours.
Yes.
So the thing about Blade Dance was this card actually wasn't really seeing a ton of play in the initial stages of Demon Hunter. It took a couple expansions for people to start to realize, and other cards being introduced, that this was a necessarily broken card.
What?
So it was not nerfed until later that year. It was nerfed with Dark Moon Fair, which is 2 expansions down the road, and they increased the cost from 2 to 3. At 3 mana, it was still played, but it wasn't it didn't feel nearly as efficient anymore. This is obviously you gotta remember with all these nerfs, by the way, this is after nerfing like so many other cards with it. So when you basically put all that effort into making a class weaker, all these cards don't work as well together. They're still synergistic, they're just not as efficient. So Blade Dance did take a L because of other nerfs as well, but it was eventually nerfed to 3 mana at the end of the year.
Oh, I'm so good at this. All right. Chaos Strike is 2 mana to give your hero +2 attack this turn and draw a card. Oh, that's pretty good.
I think for every card here, you will say that.
Shit. Okay. I mean, part of this is like burn damage, right? You attack them down with your minions, and then you play things like this, and your face just rises out of its position and swings across and hits the other face. Yeah.
You can also trade very efficiently towards minions as well, right? That's the other huge thing.
Yep. Good card. Is it busted? I don't feel like I see draw a card. I guess I don't know the class that well. I mean, it's better than a tap, that's for sure. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. You're so right.
It's way better than that. Oh no. Why tap at -2 life when you can be +2 damage instead? Damn, when you think about it that way. Wait, you play the Battlefiend on turn 1, then you play this on turn 2, you attack with your hero, and your Battlefiend gets bigger. You didn't even have to do the claws thing that I talked about. Yeah. Yep. That's great. And you draw a card. That's wow. It's like you're winning no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nice. You know, risk reward. That's card games, right? You know? Okay.
For some classes.
Would they nerf this in 24 hours? This doesn't stand out to me as like on the face, in your face, the reason you're losing games. Okay. So it might fly under the radar. And this is where it's like, okay, 24 hours. How obnoxiously, disgustingly bad was the data that got served to them? It must have been so bad. And that is where, like, I don't think in Magic this would be banned at a high speed, because I think it would take people a while to realize this is what's losing you the game. The fact that they don't run out of gas. They have blistering starts, but they don't run out of gas, right? And then you look back at the 2 Chaos Strikes they cast during the game and how they won with like 1 card left that they wouldn't have had if not for the Chaos Strikes. So for me, like, this is where I'm not sure, because the data might have made it clear that Chaos Strike needed to take a little chill pill. But in Magic, I don't think this would get acted on quickly at all. I'm gonna go with no.
Do you think this card was nerfed ever?
So the Battlefiend got nerfed. The Battlefiend is the most obvious, like, these cards go together I might have ever seen in my life. But still, if they nerf the weapon, they nerf the Battlefiend. If they nerf enough things around this, maybe. But it still seems like just comparing it to Warlock's tap is so embarrassing. I don't like, you know.
The argument against that is you could do it every turn for Warlock.
Sure,
that's what the argument is.
You can do this every turn. Just draw another one.
You are completely right. It does really showcase how far power creep has come with Chaos Trade.
Did it get nerfed ever? I hope so. Yes, let's say yes.
I hope. Oh, you naive boy. CGB. It was not nerfed. It's not nerfed.
This is fine.
Never. It's still in the core set.
In the core set, nice.
And it is still playable till this day.
I'm sure it's a very fun card to play for those who like it. So I'm not stunned. I'm just disappointed.
Reminder, outcast is when you play this on the left or most right side of your hand. Most left, most right side of your hand.
Okay.
Does that make sense, right?
Yes, I'm just I read it already. I forgot to read it out loud and I'm having a moment. Okay. 1 mana Crimson Sigil Runner is a 1 mana 2/1 with outcast, draw a card. Dude, it's a 1 mana 2/1 that draws a card some amount of the time.
And reminder,
hell?
It is extremely low curve deck at this point.
Yeah.
For Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
So you can almost basically look at this as 1 mana 2/1 draw card.
And we already have the totally fine, not nerfed outcast, who is also going to add damage to all enemies when you play these cards. These gain a little bonus for just one Widow mana plus 1 attack. Oh my god. A 1 mana 2/1 that draws a card is like amazing. It's insane. Yep. Now that's why they put it has outcast, so it doesn't do it all the time. But a 1 mana 2/1 in an aggressive deck is still what you want. It's like, oh no, I had to play this instead, and I didn't get to draw a card this time. But the next one you draw in the mid game is going to draw a card. It's going to put a board presence down that's a threat and cycle. This card is stupid. What the heck are they doing? They just want all their games over with. I can't, dude, did they nerf this? Accurate describing of like what the metagame was with Demon Hunter when it was this powerful. Like the game was over pretty quickly. Very fast. This has the extra feel bad of they just top deck it. Like when they play it on turn 1, you're like, oh Jesus Christ. Also, if it's God, can you imagine, like, you go first, you are playing last season's deck, so you play, I don't know, some dirtily turn 1 thing, and they go turn 1, this, draw a card, coin, another one, draw a card. Yeah. Yep. It was definitely possible. I would hate my life. Why do I do this? Okay. This one, dude, draw a card is so good. And it tilts me extra when there's an RNG element to it and when they give it to aggression. At least give us some reward as control players for wanting to play a game for more than 2 minutes. But no, when they make aggressive cards also draw cards, I just want to scream. It tilts me in ways, and it's a lot of my problems with Magic right now. But man, they didn't do it for 1 mana cards, did they? No, they did not. Jesus. What the hell is the identity of this class, by the way? So far, you have shown me superior rates of aggression and card draw and life gain. It's mana cheating, damage, and draw. Yeah, if that's your identity, all the things you could possibly want your deck to do in the game. That's your identity. This is good. This is personal bias here, but I think the identity is to make you hate yourself while you're playing against it. Oh, it's doing it. It's succeeding. I hate it right now. I haven't even played a game. The gross thing is, my instincts are saying this card was not one of the nerfed cards. Wow. It is. I know. I hate this. I think you're gonna show me some cards though that are in more of like the finisher range or like insane value range that I haven't seen yet. This seems on par for the bullshit I've seen so far.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say this one wasn't nerfed.
Okay, so you don't think it was nerfed in 24 hours?
Nope.
Do you think it was nerfed?
Ever?
Ever.
I want to say yes, but man, am I shook. You know what? Nah, just keep it like it is. Why not?
So, thankfully they didn't say that. It was not nerfed in 24 hours, but it was easily one of the best cards in the class. Easily one of the best cards in the class. They nerfed it, I think it was like a month and a half or maybe 2 months after it was released.
All right.
Yeah, but about 2 months. They made it a 1-mana 1/1. And that change was significant because now this Crimson Sigil Runner no longer just trades up and draws you a card.
Yeah,
Thank
because
God.
two is half of one. No,
It's,
2 is double of 1.
There you go.
3 mana for an I-beam. Yeah, Cyclops, let's go. Lifesteal, deal 3 damage to a minion. Outcast, this costs 0.
Why'd you sound so disappointed when you said
How could you not be disappointed? 0?
0?
Nice top deck.
Oh God, that's hot deck.
This brought out the emotes, I bet.
It's what? Oh my God. Outcast is an interesting mechanic.
My God.
It's an interesting mechanic for sure.
Oh my God. 3 damage for 0 and you gain 3. You could have given, like, you could have made the 2/1 that draws a card also deal 2 damage to you. Why not? You just heal for nothing.
True. Actually true.
Heck, put -3 life on all these cards. Probably wouldn't change anything. So now I'm looking at turns, like it's like turn 4 or something, right? And you're like, I play my 1 mana 2/1 that draws a card. I play my 1 mana 2/2. I use the hero power. I give +1 attack. I cast I-beam for 0. It's like, what the heck are we doing here?
Losing.
Yeah, you have no board and the opponent's at full health. Nice tempo, and yeah, you're being attacked by 1 mana cards for tons of damage. It's great. It's great. We love it here. Did this get nerfed in 24 hours? Oh my gosh, what kind of a world is it when you have like 2 of these on the right side of your hand and you're just waiting on them and you're just smirking the whole time like a freaking monster? Oh my God.
Yep.
There's an extra tilt, like I said, to the outcast mechanic. There's just an extra, like when they top decked it or when they're sitting on it, that just makes you feel so much worse. And this isn't like them getting a 2/1 in a card, which is like, you know, for those of us who have played games for a long time, is like, oh, that's really good for you. And for those who haven't, it's like, oh, it's just a 2/1, you know, life goes on, right? This is the feels bad of now for 0, you're undoing any and all attempts at damage and just taking out their board. And it's that, oh, I feel like the feels bads on this are so much worse. Sure. I feel like this one could have been one of the nerfs. I'm going to go with it. Let's do it. Nerf this thing.
Okay, so you are right.
Okay.
This card was nerfed. The nerf they decided to do was they decided to make it outcast. This costs 1.
Yeah.
And that was maybe the most elegant way of changing this card. And it did make you feel a ton better going against it. This will actually matter a little bit in the future. And I'll explain why when we get there, why the 1 matters so much. Like this card, the way it interacted with altruis, the way that it just got you tempo, the way that it allowed you to just clear a board and keep pushing face damage. Disgusting card. Like, yeah, disgusting card.
Can't race it. Can't race this card. Can't. Glaivebound Adept. Ah, a 5 mana card. 7/4 battle cry. If your hero attack this turn, deal 4 damage. Is it to anything?
Anything.
Okay.
So,
okay. God.
Worst case scenario, if you did not have a weapon equipped, I have not shown you another weapon besides the warblades. I will tell you that there was a 2 mana weapon that was playable. Actually, I shouldn't say playable. It was good. Like, it was played. So the chances of you having a weapon equipped for the adept was very likely. On top of that, worst case scenario, it is just a 6 mana card because you'd play it with your hero power.
2 playable weapons, one of which had to be nerfed right away. So oftentimes you're playing this, you're getting 7 points of power and an additional 4 damage to face. I mean, that is, I'm guessing this is an important part of the closing speed of the deck.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, it's a solid aggressive card for sure. That is probably putting it mildly. I don't know. So it's a good card. I'm not 100% sure this was the thing that had to be like stopped, right?
Okay.
I'm not positive. This one I'm a little more torn on because I could, maybe I'm naive. I don't think so. I could see this being like a modern Hearthstone card with like some of the things I've seen going on in the last few years, you know, without needing a lot of changes. This one to me seems, at least it's 5 mana. At least it requires setup. At least there are things you can do around it, right? Maybe not so much at 6 mana. So that's scary, but you can try to, I guess, taunt up. And if they're not playing 0 mana removal spells, you have a chance. I'm going to say this one didn't get nerfed.
In 24 hours.
In 24 hours, yeah.
You would be correct. This card was not nerfed in 24 hours. Do you think it was nerfed?
So with the things that all the things that we've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if it got nerfed because it does seem like the design for this was so far over the top that over time they and it sounds like about a month and a half being that time period, they decided to slow the entire class down. I don't think this would need a modern, I stand by, I'm not sure this would need a modern nerf, but now that you've shown me the sign of the times, I'm just going to err on the side of, yeah, nerf it all. This got nerfed.
Okay. This card eventually was nerfed. It took about a month. I think it was the same patch as the Battlefiend patch, if I remember correctly, or maybe the Sigil Runner one. The only nerf they did was 7 attack to 6 attack. Yep. And the card was still good. Because like the 1 attack damage, I guess, was somewhat relevant. But for the most part here, you're basically playing it for the 4 damage. That was in the body, of course, but the 4 damage from hand was extremely powerful. Dormant, reminder, is it's on the board. You cannot interact with it. During this era, at least you can't interact with it, and once the 2 turns are up, it will awaken, and then it has summoning sickness.
Okay, so this is 5 mana for imprisoned antaen.
I think it's antaen. I'm not actually 100% sure.
Imprisoned antaen, 5 mana, 10/6 demon, dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, deal 10 damage, randomly split among all enemies. Oh, so the problem with these kind of cards in the past, Rarran, you see, was that it would awaken but still not even be able to attack.
Right.
But this awakens and basically attacks. Can be even better than attacking in some ways. Can also be worse, but I don't know. I'm not convinced you can have a board state against this deck. Jeez. I'm like 5 mana for that. So when I'm thinking about like the tempo of this deck, there are 2 things that stand out to me. Number one is you've played probably a lot of stuff before you play this already. And it's not like you have nothing to do this turn, because if you equipped a weapon, you still get to attack with your turn, right? So it's not like you're taking the whole turn off. You also have 0 mana spells, at least for 24 hours you did, that can help deal with the board so you can play your dormant card. But the deck seems to be so aggressive that if you give them a turn at turn 5 to play this, they're still catching up with you. So it's not like you're throwing away the turn like you would be in a normal back and forth. So immediately it's like you can probably get away with this in a way that you probably can't with other dormant cards. And then on turn 7, all hell breaks loose. Their whole board is probably gone if they have one. And if they don't, they are incinerated. Like the game's over. We just now have to wait for it to be over. And there's no way to interact with this. There was nothing in this era.
During this era, no. You couldn't interact with the dormant minion.
Oh my God. This resolves and you just scoop. Like, what are we doing? Oh my God. Like,
what are we doing?
Like what you've shown me on like face damage, right? And like things of that nature, it's not that it's not that normal to just be able to dome somebody for 10. And this is basically saying, okay, I do this, and then all you have to do is keep the board semi-clear, and this whole this whole game, you've been aggressively smashing them to a pulp and they've been struggling to keep up. You might have played some 0 mana removal spells so they couldn't keep up. There's no way they're going to turn the game and close on you that fast because you've been life stealing this whole time. And now you're telling me that you play this ticking bomb that says, you're dead. It's stupid.
Yeah.
This is stupid. Is this the thing? My God, this might have been the thing. 5 is too cheap, man. 5, like, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to put this at 7. Yeah, this got nerfed in 24
hours.
I can be a dumb idiot sometimes, but I am sitting here like 5 ain't right. That ain't right. that ain't it.
You know, I don't think I've ever heard you so confident in a card before. And in this case, your confidence actually pays off. It was nerfed in 24 hours. Your analysis is very spot on.
I've been wrong every time.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. You're entirely right though. The analysis there was really spot on. The problem with this card was 5 was too early. Like by the time you got to turn 5, yeah, you're taking 5 mana for tempo off, but there's a good chance you already still have a board. And then on top of that, your opponent still has to answer everything else. And by 2 turns come by, you're already playing other cards. So your opponent never has really any breathing room. And by the time they do, they have a board, it's gone. And if they don't have a board, they're taking a power blast to the face. So and then you also get a 10-6. For the record, by the way, you have 3 out of the 4 that was nerfed in 24 hours.
Whew, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just have to get one more. Let's see if you can get it. Here you go. I think I've shown you this card before for the record, but
I don't think you've shown me any of the cards I've seen so far before. Just so
There's
you
no
know.
way.
I
No
don't
way.
think so. I don't think you have. I don't remember a single one of them. I don't remember this card.
Who did I show it to? Okay.
All right. Kayn Sunfury. 4 mana, 3/5 charge. All friendly minions ignore. Why would you do this?
What?
Like, one of the only things you could try to do is taunt up, right? Like, oh my God. So we are under siege. They are drawing cards. They're playing 0 mana removal spells. They're above rate on their hero power. They're above rate on their minions attack. They're above rate on their weapons. And we're just going to try to taunt up with some thick freaking minions. And somebody's like, yeah, we ignore that. Somebody was testing this class and was like, guys, we have a problem here. I need you guys to come down to the situation room at Blizzard. We have an opposing deck that's playing all taunt, and I can't kill them on turn 5. So we need to fix that. And they said, here you go. We made a card for you. Thank you. Okay, we can play now. What the?
I will tell you, you're talking about saltiness of top decking an I-beam for 0 mana. There is nothing worse in this game, in my opinion at least, to have a wall and like, oh, I'm fucking safe, and they top deck Kayn.
Yeah.
And then you just lose.
That's gotta be great.
I also want to remind you that because it says all friendly attacks, that means your hero can go face if there's a top minion, not just minions.
Because you are your own friend.
Because you are your own friend.
As you should be. That's just healthy. That's what that is. Oh my God.
So this card is extremely interesting because not only did they give it like maybe one of the most powerful effects we've ever seen in the game, but they gave it charge.
Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't have it not attack the turn it came out. It's like the extra rub-ins, Not only are we all ignoring taunt, so am I.
Also, 4 mana 3/5 with charge was a pretty good stat line. Like just in general, like it was a fine stat line to have. Like it wasn't underpowered in stats. This card was good.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Question is, was it nerfed in 24 hours?
No, it wasn't. You know why?
Why?
Because everybody took one look at this card in previous season and cut all the taunts from their decks. They just gave up.
What, so people stopped running it?
They gave up on day 1. They were done. They're out. Nobody was even trying anymore. They quit. There wasn't enough data because they all nobody wanted the blowout. They were so allergic to the blowout that they
That's
said,
an interesting
nah.
perspective. What about do you think it was nerfed at all?
God, I hope so. It is so stupid. It like your combat system, the ability to select going face or fighting for the board is really an interesting thing about it. And I think that what's like the way that taunt works. At first I didn't get it when I was getting into these videos and playing Hearthstone for those brief times where I played like the intro tutorials and stuff. But taunt is actually a really important part of that system that does give the defender some kind of agency, because the attacker has so much advantage, the aggressor has so much advantage. And I think that turning that off, I think it should be on a 1-for-1 basis. I think if you play an owl, right, to remove taunt, right? We talked about the owl a lot in early Hearthstone. I think that was a really cool way of doing it, just a 1-for-1 basis, and kind of a clever way of doing it. The owl doesn't say fuck taunt. The owl lets you learn how to fuck taunt, right? Oh. This says all of it. It's all fucked. Yep. That's not cool. I think that's a bad thing. I hope this was nerfed someday. Let's say it got nerfed.
It's weird hearing you have PTSD or something over things that you've never played against.
I'm an empathetic gamer.
Thank you. This card was nerfed actually a lot later than I expected it to be. It took around like 3 months or so to 4 months or so. I can't remember, 3 or 4 months to get nerfed from 5 health to 4 health. That was the nerf they did.
Okay.
And as you could probably imagine, I guess it did something, because it doesn't trade as favorably anymore. It's not as annoying to kill, but it was still played. Like, it was just too good of an effect. Let's move on to maybe a more happy card.
Mana burn. Oh, I know about this. This was the thing in Magic before the rules changed. Do you know what mana burn is in Magic?
No, what is it?
A long time ago, in a Magic universe far, far away, in the 90s, the way that the Magic rules worked was if you had tapped a land and added mana to your mana pool, but then did not spend it, at the end of your phase, you would mana burn, which is you would take 1 damage for each unspent mana that you didn't use. Yeah. And this was a very interesting rule, because there were cards in early Magic that made you tap your lands. And so you would like have to figure out how to spend your mana, or you would die from it. And they changed that rule at some point, and now there's no such thing as mana burn. So now Hearthstone is just taking shots at us. I see.
I mean, that mechanic sounds miserable, I'm gonna be honest. So I'm glad they changed it.
It was delightful. It was delightful.
This is slightly different than that. So
okay. This is 1 mana crystal for a spell that says your opponent has 2 fewer mana crystals next. Your opponent has 2 fewer mana crystals next turn.
So basically, let me put it like this. Let's say your opponent goes first, they get 1 mana crystal every single turn, right?
Uh-huh.
If you went second and you played this, right, against your opponent, that means on turn 2, they would have no mana crystals, which means they're skipping their turn 2.
Would they have 3 mana crystals on turn 3 after that? Or do they have to do the 2 again?
No, they would go. That would be a questionable decision from Blizzard. They would go up to 3 mana, but then if you played mana burn again on turn 2, they would go to 1. They would only have 1 mana. So that's mana burn.
Yeah, this is mana denial. This is a brief like time walkie winter orb type effect.
Yep. And you know for Magic how much people like their mana interacted with. You can imagine it's almost the same concept in Hearthstone.
Yep.
Felt really bad to get mana burned on turn 1.
That's great. We love this. Turn 1, 2/1 that draws a card. Turn 2, 1 mana 2/2, and you have no turn. Turn 3, a 2/2 and a 2/1 that draws a card, and you have no turn. Okay. It's like playing these games in my head is pissing me off, Rarran. It's pissing me off. You can't do this to me every week. This has to be a weird event. You know what's weird about this? I have enough experience with cards like this in Magic, though, to know that the really broken ones also drew a card. That's what made them real time walks. Like they cantripped in Magic terms. They would do something like this, like the opponent would like skip their untap step, but you would also draw a card. There's a card called Abeyance that when it was printed, it doesn't work this way now. They changed the rules, but when it was printed, it was 2 mana, draw a card, and the opponent can't tap any lands or cast any spells during their next turn. Terrible. Evil card when it was under that rule set. Yes. And they can't nerf cards in Magic, so they nerf the whole rules. Easy.
That's smart. That is smart.
So it's God, this card, I hate it. And I'm weirdly gonna be like, I don't think this is what they nerfed. Weird. Am I really gonna say that? Because as weird as this sounds, it could be more broken. I've seen mistakes that tried to follow this path that were more egregious than this. Maybe not in Hearthstone, but in games.
So I will say in Hearthstone, I think up until this point, other than like a Lotheb type effect, we haven't really had this effect before.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm sure it pissed people off. It pisses me off. I'm sure this is what they wanted nerfed. Is this what got nerfed in 24 hours? Because this is also a tricky one to nerf. I guess you make it 2 mana and it's a 2-for-2 trade instead of a 1-for-2, and that's easier. I'm holding out for something worse. That sounds stupid, but I'm doing it. I'm holding out for something worse. There's only one more. This ain't it. This didn't get nerfed on day 1.
Okay. Do you think it was nerfed at all?
Oh yeah, they got sick. Like nobody wanted to play with this forever.
This card has never been nerfed.
Of course.
And it's, so the interesting thing about Mana Burn was I think in Hearthstone, it's actually not as impactful. It sucked. Don't get me wrong, and it probably won games if you timed it really, really well. Like obviously versus like an aggro deck, if you hit him on turn 2 with this, it is like decimating. But I think it mainly speaks to the card quality that Demon Hunter had. It was not worth spending a mana on this. You would rather develop something that was just more broken than this.
This is Priestess of Fury. That's what it says on the card. It's a 7 mana 6/7 demon. She's giving me the eyes, Rarran. I don't know what's going on right now.
I haven't looked at this card in a while. Okay.
What's going on? All right. At the end of your turn, deal 6 damage randomly split among all enemies. Jesus. At least it's 7 mana.
I'm gonna add something here. Just because you said that. There was a card in Demon Hunter, only Demon Hunter by the way, that had this. That said 4 mana 4/4, battlecry your next demon cost 2 less.
Jesus Christ. Okay. That's great. I have to immediately go compare it to the imprisoned antaen because that's the one that got nerfed. That's a really good card. Comes down 2 turns earlier, comes undormant, and does what this does with more. I'm not gonna say this one got nerfed though. Compared to the other card, compared to the dormant 10 power, 10 damage card, I don't think this was the problem. In fact, you know, we talked about the nerfs, and like I bet not every game was long enough for this to really even do a lot, but it sure does seem like this seems like an important part of the finishing puzzle. But I mean, you also did kind of spill that it topped out around like 6, and this is a 7.
So this card saw more play after other stuff was nerfed.
Sure,
you're entirely right. This card was very good. It was not nerfed in 24 hours. You're entirely right on that one. It was eventually nerfed, by the way. They made it a 7 mana 6/5 because the problem with this card is how snowbally it gets. If you can't kill it, the game's over. Okay. Like, you will never recover from this card because it's doing like over 2 turns. It does 18 damage if it gets the swing.
Yeah. So what was the demon that did the damage at the end of every turn that was so popular? Yeah. Now they're just putting that on cheaper, better rate minions. It's just crazy.
See, it's funny because Demon Hunter was like it was the power creep onion. Every time you nerf something, you just peel back another layer and there's another creep that's going on in the class. So after they did the initial like bigger nerfs, this card started to see more play, and people realized like, what the is this? Why is it like this? So yeah, I ended up seeing a lot more play. You're right, did not get nerfed in 24 hours though. It took them about 3 months after Demon Hunter was released or so, 2 months for this card to get nerfed. So just a reminder, every single month post Demon Hunter's release, including the month it was released, there has been nerfs for this class.
Oh, I'm sure it became a party. Everybody got together every month for their new Demon Hunter nerfs to see if this would actually change anything. And what it was actually changing, I can tell you. I don't have to be there. I can tell. I can look at these cards for less than an hour today and tell you right now what was happening. Oh, we were killing everybody on turn 6. Well, we nerfed some of those cards. Now it's killing everybody on turn 7. Oh, well, now maybe it'll kill us on turn 8 this time. Whoa, maybe around turn 9, another deck can actually win.
So you say it like that. Basically, it required another expansion for other classes to really see some more play after a ton of nerfs. Okay, so instead of showing you a card by card each time at this point, I'm going to show you 3 cards. Yep. These are the last 3 cards. You're gonna tell me which one was the final one that was nerfed in 24 hours, right?
Yeah, I'm totally gonna get this. Let's go. Skull of Gul'dan is 5 mana for a draw 3. Reduce their cost by 3 is the outcast. What is their cost is the cards you draw?
Yep.
And that effect only happens when you cast this as the outcast?
Yep.
Okay. Reduce the cards you draw by 3? That's like 9 free mana.
That's you could read it like that. Yep. I will say, just for the sake of like making it more accurate, yeah, it's potentially 9 mana, but most of the time, depending on how you build your deck,
yeah, it's a lot of like 1s and 2s, right? So
yeah.
Oh,
just
darn.
depending on how you build it.
Then when you cast this as the outcast, you might play 3 free spells.
I know, that's so shit.
Why would you have to spend a turn doing something when you can do free stuff instead? It's a good contender right there for a nerf, I gotta tell you. Twin Slice is 0 mana for give your hero +1 attack this turn. Add Second Slice to your hand.
Second Slice, I literally can't find the image. Second Slice is 0 mana, game +1 attack as well.
Oh.
And I will mention, I am like 900% sure it works like this. It's obviously been a while here, but I'm pretty sure it works like this. When you play your Twin Slice, the second slice goes in an outcast position. It goes to the right, the most right side of your hand.
So you're telling me the hero attack, the thing that's like all propped up by hero attack, can now do it for free and then do it again for free?
Yep. I will say too, and I'm sure you can probably clue this in, that if you played Battlefiend into a Twin Slice, Second Slice, and you killed the opponent's minion, the game was probably over. Depending on what the deck was.
Dude, yeah, what do you have at that point? A 4/2? Or well, if you kill their minion, a 4/1?
You would have a 3/2, right? But the fact that you got 2 damage for free for 1 card and you cleared their opponent's minion is absurd. Like it was so powerful. And I'm talking like with glaivebound adept that I showed you earlier, right? You didn't even need the weapon if you had the second slice in hand, or the twin slice in hand, because then you already have the proc guaranteed. Twin slice, as you could probably imagine, very, very good card, very synergistic with everything that Demon Hunter wanted to.
And the second slice is also 0. I just want to confirm that.
Yes.
Why would we pay for anything in this world? Okay, Jesus, strong contender. 2 free spells in 1 spell is a strong contender for busted. All right, 5 mana, Warglaives of Azzinoth, a 3 and 4 weapon. After attacking a minion, your hero may attack again. Okay. That does chip away at the armor, right? Is that like on the uses? Does it chip away on the uses?
Yeah. You could technically use every durability in 1 turn if you wanted to.
And it has to, so you hit the minion, you clear it, then you go face, and you get that for 2 turns in a row in theory.
Yes.
Jesus. Okay, this is doing the thing that we've talked about that often does not stand for very long, which is somebody looks at their hand and is like, why play the game? It's all... Like, what are we doing here?
I specifically picked these 3 for the last one because I think they're all really interesting. But only one of them was nerfed
on day 1. Yeah. Okay. Twin Slice is 2 cards for... It's 2 attacks for free. For free. Why is it free? This is a very easy nerf. Just give the card a cost. Give either card a cost. It's 2 free cards in 1. Just put a 1 on one of them. Jesus Christ. What are we doing here? All right. I'm thinking about that. I mean, it is, so you can have like 3 of these in a deck, right? Or it's Hearthstone? 2 of these in a deck. Too much Yu-Gi-Oh in my life. So 2 of these in a deck. So you could, with a draw that involved both of these, your hero could attack every turn for 4 turns in a row without a weapon. That's what I'm seeing. And without spending your hero power to do it.
Yep.
What are we doing? That is an incredibly free resource. That is hard to compare to something in Magic, because in Magic, the free spells are usually like 1 effect and you're done. They don't usually draw you another free spell to do the exact same thing for another turn. The Skull of Gul'dan. That is a lot of power. That is a lot of power. That is cards, that is mana. It is another 5-cost card, but it doesn't actually cost 5. Like, all of that goes back into the cards you draw. And is there supposedly a fail state where you draw your 0 mana card so you didn't get value? That's just funny to even think about. I'm drawing my 0 mana busting card. Man, I wish it were something that got reduced. My bias is for a card like Skull of Gul'dan because I like drawing cards, but I get really salty when aggro decks get to do it at rates that control decks will never have, because that seems like it breaks the rule of the game. And there are a few things like that here. It is hard for me to get past 2 0 mana effects for free. Not only that, if you want to put a mana in, your hero gains another +1 attack, right? So you're swinging for 2 for just 1 mana.
Yep.
That is so stupid. That is so stupid. It's all stupid. This has been an exercise in just being annoyed vicariously for about a game I never played. All right. I watched you and Voxy play League for a while, and I still don't understand what makes League players salty, but I see these and I get salty vicariously.
I got you.
I can't, if I have to pick one, this is all toxic bullshit. If I have to pick, I can't get past the 0, man. I can't get past the
Twin Slice?
I can't get past it. It seems so stupid.
Okay, so you're going with Twin Slice was the card that was nerfed in 24 hours.
I
will tell you right now, all 3 of these cards got nerfed.
That makes sense to me, but like on day 1, oh shit, what have we done? I'm going with the 0. It seems like the easiest nerf. I'm going with the 0.
Okay, so you're going with Twin Slice.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll start off with the Warglaives Vazanoth. Warglaives, as much as it was a very good card, and especially as other cards got nerfed and started to rise, it's like Priestess, it was a very good card. It got you so much tempo on board. It let you just push so much damage at some points because you would fight for your own minions. Eventually, it was nerfed to 6 mana. Was not nerfed in 24 hours, though. Let's talk about Twin Slice. Yeah. I talked about how synergistic this card really was, and it was disgusting. And I think this card... Again, it's not like one of those really flashy effects that's like, oh, I win the game because I played this card. This card just was so incrementally strong that it would win you games. The fact is, like, you would scale up your satyr, you would scale up your Battlefiend, it would give you an attack if you needed it. It works with the warblades that I showed you right at the start of this, right? Anything that buffs your damage works with the lifesteal, so you got even more from this. It worked with altruis because if it was on the left side of your hand, it would move a card to the right side of your hand. Very disgusting card. Was not nerfed in 24 hours. It took them a little bit longer to nerf this card, which is really funny because by the time it was nerfed, it took them 3 months to nerf this.
Wow.
By the time it was nerfed, this is the change they made. They made it go to 1 mana for both first and second, but instead of 1 damage, you got 2 damage. This card was still disgusting.
Yeah, somebody really had it for this card. Like this,
I think, this card was definitely pushed as a Demon Hunter hater. Fuck this card. As people who probably really like this card or play Demon Hunter probably love this card. It was so good. It also worked really well with Blade Dance, which is the AoE clear for 3 minions based on your hero's damage. Skull of Gul'dan at 5 mana was nerfed in 24 hours. You basically had it on the... You had it on the money, basically. The fact is that at 5 mana, if it was an outcast position, you were getting 4 mana back and you drew 3 cards. That is, objectively speaking, at least in my opinion, maybe the strongest card that's ever existed in Standard in a vacuum. Like, one of them. Disgusting card. The fact is, too, is that if you drew Altruis and then you Skull of Gul'dan on Outcast, there is a good chance that you're playing every card you drew, especially if you got a second Skull of Gul'dan. So all of a sudden, in one turn, you get to go Altruis, Skull of Gul'dan, play 3 cards, Altruis again, Skull of Gul'dan again, play 3 more cards. One of those cards could be a Twin Slice. Even if it's 0 mana, that's 2 damage just from Altruis plus 2 more damage from your hero. This card was disgusting.
Yeah.
So they nerfed it to 6 mana, and at 6 mana, they could go itself. It was still just as good. I mean, it wasn't just as good, But the whole point of playing Demon Hunter at such a low curve is that you wanted your Skull of Gul'dan to be the highest cost card in your deck, because the whole point of Outcast is to try to manipulate your hand. The easiest way of doing that is by playing really cheap stuff. So by playing cheap stuff, you were able to get your Skull of Gul'dan to the most left side of your hand. If you can top deck this card on turn 6, I wanted to uninstall this game. We could communally agree that Demon Hunter?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I don't need to play a single game. This might be a really big deal delivery.
What'd you get?
You want me to open it?
I don't. If it's
I think
NDA, don't.
It's not NDA. It's Let me see. You can't see me anyway.
What was that laugh?
Dude, so a few days ago, my sponsor, coolstuffing.com, got the rarest of rare card in stock.
Which is what?
A Black Lotus.
Oh shit.
And I couldn't afford it. And I I really couldn't afford it. It was like 22,000. I messaged the CEO and was like, I'll hold my earnings for 6 months, like my sponsorship money that I make.
Yeah.
In exchange for the card. And
he said, yeah?
Yeah.
Is it there?
Yeah, this is it.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Is
it graded?
It is. It is a 9.
Damn!
It is a 9 unlimited Black Lotus. Yeah.
Yeah. My God.
Yeah. I'll share it with you right after we're done with the recording.